slowly turned her head. Her eyes sparkled as she looked at him, smiled broadly, spoke like a wicked ghost. "I don't have such great abilities. Uncle Lin, do you know, this day I have waited too long. Do you know why I appeared here? That was a tragic death there. The soul of the fallen under the Rooster King. They one by one, piling up like a mountain in hell. Push me. Coming back." Uncle Lin's pupils constricted. Suddenly, the intense pain struck once again. His face was contorted, let out a scream of utter agony. What are you doing?" "Get lost." At this moment, Uncle Lin is being targeted by that female internet celebrity from before, overwhelmed and brought to the ground. The previously stunning female internet celebrity. For some reason, on the face, rotting flesh is falling off in large chunks, exposed white bones, eyes glowing red, like a vengeful spirit. Zhengming stared intently at Uncle Lin below. Bit down, bit by bit, it gnawed at his flesh and blood. Uncle Lin, who has lost all his limbs. There was no room for resistance at all. Silence was a bit surprised. Then she looked at him with a beaming smile. "Has already transformed into a type of internet celebrity. Let him continuously tear apart Uncle Lin's flesh, digging into the internal organs. The scene is extremely brutal. On the other side, the big orange cat, also lying on the ground, as if dead, staying completely still. Shame o Zixu de Xiao Dao. It seems, your partner, it seems like luck isn't on our side. Enjoy it to the fullest. By these dirty things, a feeling of being nibbled away bit by bit. Silent eyes, cold and frightening, to prevent this zombie. Bite through Uncle Lin's neck. Even specifically used molten iron, covering Uncle Lin's neck. Let him see it with his own eyes. The appearance of being slowly consumed by oneself. The internal organs were in front of the zombie, devouring hungrily. Uncle Lin has completely lost his mind. Kill me. I asked you to kill me." Silence turned around. Her face appeared exceptionally calm and indifferent. The dried bloodstains on the face added an air of menace. Approaching the orange cat, Silence said softly, "I know you are not dead yet. Stop pretending." Qiong Qi, the big orange cat on the ground, suddenly opened my eyes wide, as the apocalypse descends upon the world, when the world was shrouded in a veil of blood and slaughter. His second eye, surprisingly, it was restored with remarkable skill. Now, the second eye, it appeared particularly brutal and bloodthirsty. The orange cat writhed in agony, blood and flesh churning. The entire body grew several times larger, but the iron ring around his neck, every inch is breaking apart. Until the end, it was surprisingly half a person's height. Strong and robust physique, like a tiger. Bert let out a low growl. The current orange cat, rather than a cat's meow, it would be better to say, more like a ferocious beast. Eyes fixed coldly on the silence. A terrifying sense of pressure and momentum emanated from him, as if hunting prey. Silently, he looked at the broken iron ring on the ground. Dan said, "Qiong Qi, do you want to rebel? The golden-haired beast before me." The eyes kept turning continuously, measuring the silence. He walked softly, strong and powerful like a sturdy ox, approaching silently with a fierce expression. Smelling his scent, Silence made no movement. An astonishing scene has been discovered. Even without the constraints of the iron ring, the fierce beast seemed to be afraid. Pupu is by the silent side, gently rubbed against his body, let out a muffled growl. It's strange to say, to There are quite a few fierce beasts in the mountains and forests, but in the end, only this chrysanthemum cat stood out from the rest, became a great misfortune, and devoured the gods of the heavens and seas. A silent smile. He reached out and touched Qiong Qi's fur. No wonder. You can become the overlord of Qianhai City. It's just about the perception of crisis. Is enough to let you survive in the apocalypse. Avoid many risks. If Qiong Qi dares to turn against itself, he has just awakened to become a certain kind of being, seemingly powerful, but no matter which aspect it is, none is better than oneself, myself, easily able to take it down in an instant. Silently gazing at the large metal door in front, using the mastery of a discipline, in an instant, opened this giant gate, turned into a puddle of iron leaves, a strong smell of blood. The roar rushed toward me. It turned out to be a soldier-like zombie, Bert, the impoverished creature beside me, leaping forward. In an instant, click, click, sound of chewing. Silence did not stop this either. Such a creature as Qiong Qi, a special existence with self-awareness. Compared to devouring humans, what I prefer is the zombie that devours the same kind. Least, even is mystery. This allows them to continuously advance and grow. Silence walked out the door. It is dim outside the door right now, desolate and in ruins. On the surrounding walls, filled with dense bullet holes, on the ground lay a large number of incomplete corpses. Clearly, the Special Forces soldier who had been guarding outside the door, already retreated. Help! In the midst of the 23rd floor, a person in uniform is panting. Bloodied glasses. The man fled frantically, when silence appeared, with a face full of joy. There is someone. There are still living people. He hurriedly ran toward the silence. Behind him, following a horde of zombies in a 23-story building, silent eyes slightly squinting, noticed the man. Those striking scars. The ruler can surge. Question. A large expanse of silver liquid. The invitation transformed into a series of extremely sharp blades. Flap, flap. Swiftly and decisively plunged into the center of each zombie's forehead. Even on the forehead of that man with the eyes. They all have a knife. A stream of blood slipped from the man's gaze. He stood there motionless. Everyone looked at the silence with disbelief. Hello, lie. Then, with a thud, he fell to the ground. After the man with the eyes died, dark figures sprang out from behind, towards his corpse, biting and tearing. On the other side, 5 or 6 remaining zombies was extremely fierce, charging towards the silence with a roar. Silence spoke volumes. Just as I was about to use my dominion powers again, suddenly my whole body shook. Moo. The silence in his eyes changed. Looking at my hands, I feel perplexed. Has the limit of superpower usage been reached? Also, today I have used my dominion powers too many times. For a newly awakened ability user, being able to use it 4 or 5 times is already quite good. And the silence that is used, but it's far from just this number. Fortunately, I carried a katana with me, even if I can't use my powers temporarily. The powers of this body, this physical fitness, it is far beyond what ordinary people can compare to. Silence holds the katana. With a single stroke, directly strike the head of the zombie in front. Cut down to the ground. Blood flowed like a river. Countless blood sprays fell. More zombies are rushing in again. Bert, the impoverished rider behind, leaped high, waving its enormous claws. A slap will strike in front of Chen Mo. The zombie lock has been split into 2 parts. but that has already turned into a split zombie, dragging a pile of intestines and entrails, still crawling towards Silence. With the swift motion of the knife, thump thump, Silence beheaded him. The other side finally fell silent. These ordinary zombies. Only by beheading can one kill, silently said. He didn't care whether Qiong Qi understood or not. He dragged his katana and fought his way out. Blood is flowing all over the floor. When the last zombie head on the 23rd floor. With a heavy silence, he swung it hard. Shake off the blood stains from the katana. It's just the zombies on the 23rd floor. It's such a hassle. Not to mention, what is the situation outside Tianhai City? But fortunately, those people can also clear many obstacles for themselves. Through the glass window stained with blood and shattered flesh, silently witnessing the fiery hell of gunfire below. Outside the new Huang group, thousands of soldiers who had been here before, but there is an extremely strong force. Among this group of special forces soldiers, there also appeared a form of existence transformed into zombies, based on their physical fitness. After becoming a zombie, more terrifying than ordinary zombies, it is certainly not something an ordinary person can kill. Fortunately, the soldiers below are under command. Immediately kill the person next to you who has transformed. The survivors formed a defensive wall, continuously firing to stop. Zombies swarmed in from all directions. Silent eyes flicker. Na Jiao. We should take a break soon, because now natural disasters have just descended upon the world. An endless kind of zombie outbreak. In the absence of a large number of survivors joining forces to conduct a sweep, it was the most difficult and dangerous moment. But similarly, it is also the best time to advance one's abilities. Silently looked at the pile of zombie corpses on the ground. Towards Qiong Qi. They all got eaten. Qiong Qi tilted his head in confusion. Silence said softly, "It's good for you." About 10 days later, these zombies have something in their heads. A highly unique polluted crystal will appear. The thing can enhance abilities and increase strength, although there isn't any right now. But for the Qiong Qi, which is also a kind of creature, it is also something that is very nourishing. Qiong Qi seemed to understand, yet didn't fully grasp the bodies. Swallowed one by one. His mouth is like an abyss. Silence laughed and scolded. Just eat the key parts. He uses a katana. Directly chopped off a zombie's head. Kicked it over. After the Qiong Qi finished devouring everything, one person took a break for a while. Silence can also feel. The dominant ability within the body has regained some strength through the escape passage. Here, it can be seen on almost every floor. A large horde of zombies came rushing toward us. I don't know if it was devoured. The reasons behind the previous flesh and blood. Still these zombies awakened the ferocity within Qiong Qi as a form of individual consciousness. Qiong Qi, whether in combat strength, still consciously, they completely crushed these ordinary zombies. Click, click. Qiong Qi was gnawing at the flesh and blood again. The figure seemed to have grown even larger. Looking at it this way, it won't take long. Qiong Qi could succeed, advancing to the first level, silently observing the back of the poor Kai. He remembers. Before the rebirth, there were descriptions about Qiong Qi. He has a pair of enormous flesh teeth, cannot help but be exceptionally fierce. The speed is still extremely fast. Can fight in the air. In the corridor of the 13th floor of the new Emperor group, the door was slammed. Close it tightly. At the bottom of the stairs, a sharp intake of breath was heard. Why do I have to go through all of this? Am I dreaming? Crying, crying, crying. Just know how to cry. Stop crying, damn it. Come quickly and block the door. We can't hold on any longer. A voice of anger erupted. 4 men are covered in blood, using their body to press hard against the door. Behind that door, they swarm in countless numbers. Use your head. Lens, bud, constantly crashing zombies. Bad, bad. Each impact was particularly fierce. Several men. Everyone has a fierce expression. Grinding teeth, desperately resisting the zombies' attack. Can be here. They work overtime 996 all year round. Naturally, physical fitness is not strong. Not long after. A bloody hand exposing white bones. Then it broke through the glass and emerged. Another scream echoed. In the hallway behind the 4 men. The woman who was holding the coffee earlier. Zaizurin's hair was disheveled. The clothes are unbearable, revealing the beautiful spring light. Hiding in a corner, shivering with fear, one man gritted his teeth, glared at the side. The useless Zaizurin said, "We're about to collapse. You damn it. Let's fight together. Otherwise, we all have to die." At this point in time, who still cares about anything? Courteousness between men and women. They witnessed their colleagues around them. One by one, they were bitten to death by zombies. Everyone wants to survive. Kizizi Ran trembled softly. Her face lost its color, looking at those behind the door, the fierce and terrifying zombies. "No, I don't want to die." He let out a scream. She took off her high heels directly, facing downwards, fleeing frantically. This scene let the 4 men present, the eyes desire to tear apart. They didn't expect. Zaizurin actually chose to escape. Several people shouted angrily, "Zaizurin, you fucking bastard! Stupid bitch! Qiong." Zombies swarmed inside the door. Another violent impact. This time, the 4 could no longer hold back. In an instant, was surrounded by a swarm of zombies, to be submerged within, let out a roar of unwillingness. "Zaizurin, may you suffer a terrible fate. I don't want to die. I heard something coming from behind." The curses and insults from former colleagues. The escaping Zaizurin, anxious expression, constantly self-comforting. "I'm sorry. I want to live too." Suddenly, because the escape was too hurried, during the process of going downstairs, the right foot twisted. He was completely out of control. Lean forward and go. The whole person rolled down continuously, several steps, until reaching the 8th floor. Such a huge commotion nature has caused. Attention of countless zombies. When I looked to my side, that vast open door, one by one they turned their heads. Wandering zombie. Zaizurin's face was pale, feeling weak all over, sitting in a corner, crying continuously, "Don't, don't, 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 don't. Come here. Who will save me? I am still young. I don't want to die." But zombies don't care about all this. Zombies one by one. It rushed towards him like a tidal wave. Zaizurin let out a scream, tightly closed my eyes. At that moment, a terrifying after-sales service call sounded. The silver light unfolds. Countless iron leaves close the wide open door he left. Qiong Qi acted extremely domineering, directly tore apart several zombies. A large spray of blood resembles arrows. It splashed onto Zaizurin's face. "I saved." When he opened his eyes again, looking ahead, a beast more terrifying than a zombie, Zaizurin felt as if he had fallen into an ice cellar, uncontrollably shivering all over. Step back. He was shivering even to the point of his teeth chattering. But the strong desire to survive, it didn't make him faint. Good. Then these zombies? After devouring one by one, Qiong Qi turned around with a fierce visage. Glaring at him fiercely, Zai Zurin said in extreme fear, "No, don't kill me." At this moment, a faint voice, the sound of Qiong Qi echoes, da da da, accompanied by the sound of footsteps, a fleeting shadow. Slowly walking down from the stairs above, Qiong Qi let out a roar, spitting out a few pieces of bone, returned to that person's side. When I saw this incredibly familiar face, Zai Zurin felt a wave of anxiety. "Then it is infinite ecstasy," exclaimed, "It's you. Aroma. No. How did you end up here?" Zai Zurin was overjoyed. "I thought that. I am already certain to die. However, I didn't expect that. I can't believe I ran into you here. The strange guy from the elevator earlier. And looking at his appearance, it seems I have been turned into a zombie." Silently, Silence glanced at him. Expression is calm. I patted the poor Kai beside me. "I ate these. These are all good things. Don't waste it." Qiong Qi nodded. "Step forward and take a bite." Swallowed the brain of a zombie, flowing continuously from my mouth. Thick blood and brain matter. Plip. Sap. It looks extremely horrifying. Oh, Zai Zurin's face was pale, witnessing this scene of the sage. Couldn't help but spit it out. For some reason, the more he looked at this ferocious beast, the more I see, the more familiar it feels. Suppressing the chill in my heart, spoke towards the silence. This. It's your pet." Silence did not acknowledge him, but looked to the side. The gate blocked by iron leaves. Dum-dum. Clearly, the zombie on the other side of the door, still continuously banging on the door. But given their current strength, it will likely take quite a bit of time. The silence completely ignored me. Zai Zurin frowned, very displeased. I miss him, Zai Zurin. Once at the Xin Huang group, she can be considered a goddess sharing the same moon with the stars. Inside the new Huang group, there are countless who pursue themselves. He considers himself living well on one's own. Yet it was unexpectedly in silent eyes. Can't see a hint of connection. Brief peace. He has become aloof again. "Hello, I'm talking to you." Zai Zurin expressed some dissatisfaction. "How did you end up here?" "This wall. It was also you who did it." Silence turned around. Her gaze was cold as she stared at him. "You better be quiet." The moment I saw the other person's eyes, Zai Zurin felt cold all over, like falling into an ice cellar. He swore, "This is my life, the coldest gaze I have ever seen." He swore. Zai Zurin was so frightened that he couldn't speak for a moment. "Can be quick." He then realized. "Here, only the two of us, me and this guy. A weak woman on her own. Twisted my ankle again. If no one helps. I'm afraid I'm really going to die here." Looking at the silent katana in hand. "This guy, able to come down safely from upstairs. It should be very impressive." Zai Zurin thought to himself. His expression changed in an instant. Became very aggrieved. She appeared with a pitiful look. Said coyly, I'm injured. Can you help me?" Completely forgotten the once unattainable appearance. Silently glanced at him. I have to say, Zai Zurin has a good figure. Curvaceous, very spicy. PLA uniform worn on the body, due to certain reasons. Became shattered and broken, revealing the magnificent scenery inside. But this green tea, silence has witnessed too much. In the apocalypse, This appearance is quite nice. A woman who is utterly useless, either become a plaything of the big shots, or rely on selling one's body. Exchange food for survival. Cannot. Silently, he spoke decisively. Zizaren's beautiful eyes widened. Then, feeling a mix of embarrassment and anger, said, "You still aren't a man. I'm hurt. Aren't you going to help me?" Again, a broadsword, directly inserted deep into the wall beside Zizaren. Zizaren's pupils shrank, looking at the katana beside me. Qiong couldn't stop trembling. "Shut your mouth." Silently smiled, slowly speaking. "Did you forget? The person who helped you before. They are all dead." Silently drew the katana, looking at the side, the Qiong Qi. He had almost finished eating. Dan said, "Let's go." "Don't go." The desire to survive ultimately triumphed over reason. Zizaren tightly held onto the edge of the silent garment. With tearful eyes she pleaded, "Take me with you. I don't want to die. I beg you." Silence frowned slightly. "Why do I need to wear a thunder pendant?" Zizaren's beautiful eyes flashed with a hint of madness. She simply took off her uniform top. Silat, full frost, Fengtai audio, 2 points of smoky red, exposing large areas of alluring snow-white skin. It was still stained with fresh blood. It has a peculiar beauty. As long as you can take me along, you can do whatever you want with me. Before the arrival of the apocalypse, Ming, she is still the goddess that an ordinary person wouldn't even dare to imagine. And now, I can't believe I'm being forced to act like this. Things that can be accomplished, just because she wanted to survive. The silent gaze held a hint of mockery. "Your body." "Yes." Zizaren bit his lip in utter humiliation. "Speaking of my flesh, she just doesn't believe it. Someone, after seeing themselves like this, still able to remain indifferent, silent and expressionless." A hint of a cold smile appeared. The ridiculous Chips finished speaking. No response was given to Zizaren. So we walked down the stairs with Qiong Qi until the iron door beside me began to gradually melt away, watching their figures grow fainter and fainter. Zizaren's beautiful eyes were filled with deep fear. She kept crawling forward, screamed loudly, "No, don't leave me behind. I can do anything. I can do anything." "Okay." A series of howls echoed through the air. Zizaren widened her beautiful eyes. Her eyes were filled with despair and disbelief, the iron gate resisting loss. It actually disappeared. "No, bastard, ignoring those in need. I curse you to an unhappy death. Save me. Help me." Zizaren struggled wildly. The losses that could overwhelm her were increasing. Her body that she takes pride in, torn apart and crushed by a little loss. Finally, ultimately ending up like those 4 men before, silently listening to the screams and curses echoing in the hallway. There was not the slightest ripple in my heart. In this cannibalistic apocalypse, sometimes the most terrifying loss is not just one kind of loss, but rather the teammates who stab you in the back. Food, woman, jinn, and status. Various factors can lead to a huge hidden danger. Once again at the first floor of Xin Huang Group. Due to the majority loss on the first floor, they have been drawn away by the gunfire from the troops outside the new Huang Group. So there is not much loss left here. Silence holds the katana. Swiftly and decisively slayed the last beast. Exited the new Huang building. Looking at the deep red sky, a terrifying blood moon hung high in the sky. In the apocalypse, there is no day or sun. This means before the establishment of various battle zones. No one can find peace in a place where farming is done for self-sufficiency and local sales, before the food runs out. I must go outside to search for food that hasn't spoiled, but fortunately at home, Silence had already prepared a large amount of food in advance, enough to persist until the awakening of another ability. When two beings enhance their abilities to the second tier, the losses outside the new Qiong group have basically been cleared. Not far away were the few remaining Special Forces soldiers, about 20 or 30 of them, stood as a defensive wall, not only resisting the losses coming from all directions. Open fire. They opened fire on me. Kill all these ghostly things. I don't want to die. Well, I still have a wife and children at home. Let go of me. Let me go. I want to go back, under the protection of this group of special forces. In the center, there are still 20 to 30 employees from the new Qiong group squatting. Zhang Heifeng instantly became angry. He faced the middle-aged man who was about to leave. Step forward and kick. Are you trying to kill everyone here? Don't hold him back. Let him die. He is the overall commander here. This operation. It was all to rescue Lin Lao's grandson. But unexpectedly, such shocking events occurred. Watching the buildings around collapse continuously, the deep crimson sky, and ahead densely packed, zombies surged in like a tidal wave. Zhang Heifeng furrowed his brows. They couldn't even reach the military district with the satellite phone. Unable to hold back, they angrily scolded. Damn it! What is happening in this world? If this continues like this, we all have to die. At that moment, a scream came from the special forces ahead. Someone has been bitten again. Ban. Gunshots rang out. A person in military uniform hurried over. He said in a deep voice, Captain, let's retreat." Zhang Heifeng's breathing was synchronized. Looking at the crowd of survivors in front of me, her eyes flickered, pondering something. There are not many cars available now. There are a total of 30 to 40 people here. This does not include the warriors who remain here. Absolutely not enough. Another scream echoed. Zhang Heifeng was sweating profusely with anxiety. At that moment, a gasp echoed through the crowd. What is that? Look at that guy. Very strong. Wait a moment. He wasn't the one who forcibly broke into New Qiong City before. Is someone there? Is he Superman? Is he Superman? I'm sorry, but it seems like the input is incomplete. Could you provide more context or the text you'd like translated? Zhang Heifeng looked in the direction. On another road at the entrance of the Xinhuang group, Silence and Qiong Qi, a person and a beast, hunting zombies like crazy. Qiong Qi's gaze was fierce, like a fierce tiger, with a swipe of its claw, tore a zombie apart, and Silence relies on a powerful body, and disregarding 15 years of battle experience, like a pitch-black devil, pulled in the katana, surrounded by countless zombies. And there was not the slightest hint of fear. Instead, it feels effortless. With a single stroke, he decisively severed a head. Pachai. This saying, it's really too exaggerated. The dozens of armed soldiers struggling to resist here formed a sharp contrast. Zhang Heifeng, despite many years of experience as an instructor, upon witnessing such a fluid and graceful movement, with a decisive and straightforward approach, all couldn't help but widen their eyes. Bao Kudao. What the heck? It's the thug. He couldn't believe it and rubbed his eyes. At this moment, the soldier beside me spoke up. Captain, it's him. Killed the president of the new Qiong group, Lin Shu. Should we shoot? Open your sister." Zhang Heifeng glared at him, shouted angrily, "What time is it now? You have courage in your gun. There are a few bullets left. This group of ghostly beings is not right. Use it for your own people. You cover those behind you well. With Retreat behind that guy." Jane Heifeng glanced over, crouching on the ground, holding his head. A timid group of ordinary people. These ghostly things. The more you hit, the more there is. In the end, I'm afraid everyone will die here. And the emergence of silence. It gave him a glimmer of hope. Doubt, in other words, even if it's that person, kill the president of the new Qiong group. But as long as you are present, nearly 100 people, able to be saved because of him, that damn thing is a hero. Special moments. We must use special methods. Zhang Heifeng, he is not someone who lacks adaptability. Decisive action. Immediately spoke up. Let these ordinary people get on the bus. We shelter behind. Out of bullets. You only use standardized knives there. It's used for nothing at all. Take it out and let me chop it. After he issued the order, the crowd quickly dispersed. More than 100 people. Following these people, a path forged in silence. Keep moving forward and evacuate. The silence at the forefront. Zoran noticed the commotion behind. Pachai killed another zombie. I turned my head to glance behind. Troops followed but maintained a certain distance. Did not say much, but continued to walk forward. Zhang Heifeng holding a telescope. Seeing this, he breathed a sigh of relief. Nan Dao. It seems he has agreed. Give me the gun. Cover for him. Put down the telescope. Zhang Heifeng felt increasingly alarmed as he looked on. Who exactly is he? The horror of these zombies. They are indeed. What I witnessed firsthand. Unless it strikes first. Otherwise, it's just a body with 4 limbs. They were all turned into a sieve. Can't die. Wasted quite a few bullets. And this mysterious fellow, facing so many zombies. All appeared to be effortless. Lin Lao's grandson. Do you have a grudge against him? Zhang Heifeng looked at. Document of silence. The eyes kept shimmering as I watched more and more zombies around me. Silent all over. Already stained with blood. Rouse Qi awakening. He has also become stronger after that. Can't help but struggle to get up more and more. On the first day of the apocalypse, I arrived at the city center. It is no different than an adventurous act, but the chance to kill Uncle Lin. Only this time, because after today, from Uncle Lin's unique perspective, take the first opportunity. Picked up by armed helicopters. Take it to the safest place. Good. Another zombie lunges forward. Bump. A loud gunshot echoed. One shot to the head. It turned out that it was Zhang Heifeng behind me who fired the shot. Silently glanced over. The other party revealed a friendly smile. Nodded. Silence continued to move forward. During this time in the journey forward, silent eyes, the evacuees gathered here at Zhang Heifeng's location, increasing more and more. Even a few cars can't fit anymore. Zhang Heifeng watched the crowd following behind the car. He said painfully, "Has the support from the military district not arrived yet? If this continues like this, it's really something, isn't it?" At this moment, the earth beneath our feet. Suddenly, it began to shake violently with a rumbling sound. Surrounding buildings. Large chunks of rubble keep collapsing. Smash into the crowd. Qiong Qi's fur stood on end. The complexion suddenly became intensely agitated. Began to growl anxiously. Silent and strong, it seems like something came to mind. He suddenly looked back at the crowd. The ground beneath suddenly huge. A hand covered in flab reached out. The incredibly fat giant hand. That giant hand swept across. They captured a large group of survivors along with their vehicles. Ah, save me! Help me! Countless screams and cries echoed. Zhang Heifeng's breathing was steady. Looking up from underground, it was at least 10 meters long, arms as huge and fat as a baby's. Even a military vehicle. In front of him. It's all a sign of things to come. Caught in hand. Above are countless survivors struggling. Some even jumped down from above. Asterisk sound of a clap asterisk. Smashed into a pile of mush. What the hell is this again? Zhang Heifeng was stunned. Hey, hey! From that bottomless chasm, a faint sound could be heard, similar to a baby's cry, an eerily strange laughter. Hee hee, hee hee. When I heard this sound, the silent pupil shrank. The eyes began to flicker continuously. Shu Sai Shen, why did you wake up so soon? He turned to glance at the crowd not far behind him. He decisively spoke up. Qiong Qi, let's go. Experience of surviving 15 years in a post-apocalyptic world. Tell him about the powers of the early deities. At least equivalent to a Tier 4 level esper. Absolutely beyond what ordinary people can contend with. Just as the silence intended without hesitation. When leaving with Qiong Qi, I abandoned this crowd of people. A violent earthquake. It suddenly came to a halt. I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that. So sleepy, so sleepy. In the silence of the ear, suddenly remembered this. A voice like that of an infant. The silence turned into a startling expression. Incredibly, I looked down towards the ground. Even have some doubts. Did I hear wrong? This is the voice of the baptized God. Why am I able to understand the language of the divine, except for the uniquely extraordinary deities in the Apocalypse, besides being able to speak the language spoken by other deities? I can't understand it at all. So sleepy. That voice rang out once again. Silence frowned slightly. Immediately looked at his left hand. Only the awakening dark patterns on the left hand were visible, unexpectedly shimmering with a faint purple glow. Yiand, when the earthquake stopped, that incredibly fat giant hand, it gradually shrank back toward that abyssal crack. A group of ordinary people. Never had I seen such a terrifying scene. A sudden uproar erupted in the crowd. Well, I want to go home. I want to go home. I don't want to die in this cursed place. What has happened to this world? Zhang Heifeng was also in shock, unable to calm down for a long time. He opened his mouth. I want to say something, but it was just a hand. It directly shattered his worldview. Zhang Heifeng looked down at the ground. The expression revealed immense apprehension. On this day beneath the sea, what kind of monster is hidden inside? Suddenly, it seems like something came to mind. Zhang Heifeng gazed into the distant silence. A terrifying suspicion surfaced in my mind. This young boy. Could it be that they chose this day specifically to kill Uncle Lin? Could he be? Did you anticipate that this would happen? Zhang Heifeng suddenly shook his head, trying to wake myself up a bit. Shouted loudly, "Everyone be quiet. We have contacted the military. Someone will come to rescue us soon. You're so loud. Soon that group of ghosts will come over again. Okay." A series of earth-shattering roars echoed. Zhang Heifeng's expression froze, turned his head somewhat stiffly. Only seen behind the crowd, a dense swarm of corpses surged in from all directions. Massive numbers. Countless zombies gathered in this place. One by one they were bloodied and mangled, roaring in like a swarm of locusts. Many zombies fell into the enormous abyss. But this still cannot stop their progress. Finished. This is the only thought in Zheng Heifeng's mind at this moment. Ban, ban, ban. The sound of gunfire erupted once again. Even at this moment, it is still him. It was impossible not to feel a sense of despair. No, I don't want to die. Run away quickly. The survivors who have gathered with great difficulty, after witnessing such a terrifying scene of lost mountains and seas, everyone immediately fell into chaos, desperately fleeing backward. At that moment, suddenly, a rumbling engine sound echoed from the distant horizon. A series of pitch-black armed helicopters arrived, continuously unleashing an incredibly dense barrage of attacks. Boom, boom. Large groups of zombies perished in the barrage of artillery fire. Hello, can you hear me? Zheng Heifeng, please respond. Please respond when you hear this. Please respond when you hear this. The radio communicator crackled nearby. Zheng Heifeng's expression was one of wild joy. A voice shouted loudly, "Everyone hold on! Support has arrived. I am Zheng Heifeng. I can hear it." Zheng Heifeng joyfully responded with hope. "There are hundreds of survivors here. Need help." The communicator on the other end immediately replied, "Received. We are special personnel from the 13th War Zone, currently providing support. Is Lin Shashu from your team?" "Uncle Lin." Zheng Heifeng's expression darkened. "Flying the armed helicopters in the sky." Instantly understood. Why would the military region dispatch such a large force? "Uncle Lin has passed away." "What did you say?" The communicator went silent. Seemed particularly shocked. Zheng Heifeng exclaimed loudly, "Let's not worry about that for now. I still have hundreds of survivors here. You have all arrived. Cover for me. Let's first get these survivors to a safe place." The other end of the line was silent for a moment before responding. "Understood. I have an extremely special person here." "No." Speaking of this, Zheng Heifeng looked towards the silent direction. Discover what lies ahead. Silent direction. Silence, and the beast had left without anyone knowing when. Zheng Heifeng is correct. The bullets in the gun are all spent. He simply picked up a standard police knife, let out a roar, directly rush into the chaotic crowd ahead. Protect these survivors well. Support has arrived. Fall back and defend. Ush. Knock, knock, knock. The silence at this moment. I was already riding on Qiong Qi, and countless explosive sounds echoed behind me. Flames soared into the sky. Countless clouds of gunpowder rise. Chen Mo turned to look at the armed helicopters in the sky. He sneered. "Uncle Lin's treatment is indeed different. You actually came with such a grand setup. Fortunately, Uncle Lin is now dead beyond any doubt. If he really gets into the military district, it will be difficult to kill him again. However, Qiong Qi, I didn't expect you to be this fast." Silently patted the constantly running Qiong Qi. Qiong Qi let out a low growl of dissatisfaction. In the apocalypse, high-rise ruins are everywhere. The vehicle can't drive far at all. Will be obstructed by the collapsed buildings. And Qiong Qi was incredibly agile, continuously leaping across layers of collapsed buildings, rushing forward at an incredible speed. The zombie brain marrow that Qiong Qi had eaten before played its role. The current Qiong Qi has a massive build, as fierce as an adult tiger, even stronger, silent riding on the back of Qiong Qi, holding a katana. A person and a beast smashed the surrounding zombies one by one. Slaughter. Given the current level of zombie evolution, they can't catch up to their speed at all. In the old city, leaving the city center. Arrived here, the zombies began to become scarce. Zombies all around. Most of them are transformed from old people, Both speed and aggression have significantly decreased. Silence rode around the Qiong Qi once. A rough cleanup of the zombies near the residence was completed. Tao Tie, a zombie's head was severed. Silence arrived at the foot of the building. Nanan said, "Almost there." I glanced at the Qiong Qi beside me, silently smiled and said, "The current body shape is still barely acceptable. Make it bigger. I fear there's no room for you anymore." Qiong Qi let out a dissatisfied shout. As soon as I stepped into the hallway, bird, a zombie was coming straight towards me. But, silently, the hand rises and the knife falls. Calmly gazing at the rolling head before him. He knows this person. Landlord. A few days ago, someone came to collect the rent. You can rest assured. The rent can't do without you. Later, during the Qingming festival, I will burn it for you. Silence slowly spoke. One should have principles in life. Then go upstairs. Silence almost slaughtered its way through. A river of blood. The layers of stairs beneath my feet are filled with blood. Qiong Qi, same as always. Let Qiong Qi take care of these corpses. Silently gazing at the iron gate before me. Open it with the key. Eat up. A dazzling array of food. Piles of supplies appeared before my eyes. Boop. Chenmo took a deep breath. The satisfaction of stockpiling before the neglect arrives erupted in an instant. He was starving. He directly picked up a pack of compressed biscuits. Pei Shui chewed heartily. The nearby Qiong Qi licked its fur. A low growl of dissatisfaction. Mais Chenmo took out a few pieces of frozen beef from the refrigerator, threw it over casually. Sometimes it's helpless. I've eaten so much already. Why are you still thinking about eating? No. The same. Silence adjusted itself. Opened his eyes wide. Looking at the Qiong Qi in front of me. Displayed an incredible expression. Wait a moment. Was that you speaking just now? Qiong Qi let out a low growl again. Intermittent sounds. Thinking of the silent expression. It became increasingly exciting. Awakening dark patterns on the left hand. Indeed, it shimmered with a faint glow once again. Before, when encountering the baptized deity. It seems like I can hear what the other person is saying. Now, it seems there isn't anything left. I can also understand what Qiong Qi is saying. Awakening of the left hand's dark pattern, not yet complete. And I didn't hear it myself either. Whispers at the moment of awakening powers. This represents that this ability has not yet awakened. Silently stared at Qiong Qi for a long while. Said, "You can communicate with me." Qiong Qi nodded. Silently smiled. "Interesting. It seems. This is my second superpower. It's a bit unusual. In the midst of the apocalypse, humanity finally found a place to counterbalance. Someone once suggested conversing with the gods. Ask them about their origins. But it remains unknown to anyone. Dialogue with the divine, the language of the gods, along with most of the deities. I saw humans. Will strike to eliminate. This matter was left unresolved. If one could converse with the divine, then there will be an opportunity to understand. Where do they come from? What is all of this? Silence didn't think much, but stretched lazily. I feel a bit sleepy. I'm a bit tired. It's better to wash early. Silently shrugs. In his small room, the most accommodating. It's just clean water. In the apocalypse, I want to find a clean water source. That was really difficult, to accommodate this water. Silence specially arranged the tables and chairs at home. Clear everything. Cleared a large area for placement. After taking a quick shower, Silence controls the power of one. Seal off the surroundings. gradually fell asleep while lying in bed. The next morning, silence was met with a refrain that repeated endlessly. The sound erupted with extreme noise. Unexplained anomalies are occurring around the world. Dear survivors, wait patiently in the safe area. The army will come to rescue soon. Special attention if there is someone by your side. Unfortunately, I was injured by a zombie. Please get away quickly. Quickly get away. Silence slowly opened the iron window. The sky is still a deep red. Like dusk, some appeared in the hallway again at this moment. Scattered zombies, like a wandering ghost. The ground was littered with ruins and debris. The air was filled with the smell of gunpowder and blood. A trumpet in the distance. The news is being broadcast continuously, as if it were a different world. The silent eyes sparkled. Couldn't help but murmur. It turns out it wasn't a dream. Slowly opening the iron window, after a night of rest and recovery. Additionally, due to the presence of food and water, the mental state and ability recovery have improved significantly. It is only the first day of the apocalypse. Even those survivors who are not searching for food and water, they can mostly persevere. It's just that there will be some mental pain. The way of silence. As the apocalypse continues to advance, zombies and the mutants gradually grow stronger. The survivors' space will be increasingly compressed. The most important thing is the mindset. Many people cannot bear the madness of suicide. Not in the minority either. Chenmo sat calmly on the bed. I glanced at the mountain of food supplies piled up beside me. A week later, these zombies can condense essence in their minds. I am now considered a first-level psychic. Want to improve. We must have precise assistance. Jing and Gu can certainly enhance the strength of supernatural abilities. But this does not prevent silence from daily training of abilities and physique. The 9th day of the end times. During this time, silence almost daily hunts zombies around with Qiong Qi. Under daily training, the range of the controlling ability has expanded from the initial 3 meters to 5 meters. Silence gradually reclaimed the feeling from the 15 years of the apocalypse. The only downside is, during this time, another ability has yet to awaken. But that awakened dark pattern became increasingly perfect. In a rundown street, where a roar sounded. For many days, a kind of devouring. Now, the body of Qiong Qi has become even larger and more ferocious. With a roar, immediately charged towards the large group of zombies in front. Wherever the powerful claws pass, a huge spray of blood erupted. A zombie was instantly split in half by the force. On the other side, silence faced the 2 or 3 dozen zombies before them. Domination of superpower usage. The abandoned vehicles around became incredibly twisted. In an instant, they rushed towards the group of zombies. Page, surround this group of zombies in a pincer attack. The silent right hand raised. In an instant, sharp metal shards shot out from the abandoned vehicles, pierced through the bodies of the zombies right in front of me. Chenmo stepped forward and cleaved a zombie's head with a knife. The scene is extremely bloody. Brain matter flowing. In it, Silence saw a pale purple-gold box shimmering with golden and silver light. The silence washed over the face. Without caring about the disgusting, brain-like goo, he reached his hand in. He took out a gold box the size of a saddlebag, although it is just an ordinary gold box. Not even worth mentioning. But for my current self, absolutely enough to use. Silently looked at the restless Qiong Qi beside. Spoke up. Don't you dislike eating these heads? Not needed now. Did you see this? Take all these things out. Qiong Qi nodded in a way that seemed to understand, but also didn't. Then he bit off the head of the zombie in front of him, chewing for a while with a crunching sound. Then he spat out a golden box covered in saliva, blood, and brain matter. Silence adjusted itself. He took a deep breath and said, "Forget it. Did you eat this gold box? I can do it myself." He used his dominion ability to condense a razor-sharp knife, skillfully opened the brains of these zombies. He took out the golden box. "Eat ga." A sound of something shattering came from behind. The silence turned to a change in expression. An iron blade shot out violently behind. "Who is where?" Thump. A loud explosion sounded not far behind. A piercing scream suddenly erupted. Don't kill me. There is still someone." The silent gaze narrowed slightly, staring intently at the wrecked car across from me. "Don't kill me." Silence. "It's me." A young man slowly crawled out from behind the car. "You've—" Her face was gaunt. The cheeks were covered in blood and grime. The clothes on him were also stained with mottled blood. Hair is messy. In a state of utter panic. Seeing the visitor, silence furrowed his brow. Lai Yuan. Lai Yuan's face was extremely pale and colorless. He originally planned to search for food. Suddenly, I heard a huge commotion over here. I want to come and take a look. Just happened to run into silence. The chilling scene of opening a river for those zombies. I have a grudge against silence. He wouldn't kill himself to silence himself, would he? Lai Yuan said with a face full of fear. Silence. I really was just passing by. Gave him a glance. Then said with interest, "What a coincidence. Exploring this place these past few days." Silence also sensed it. The traces of many survivors. Because I don't want to associate with these people. Too many entanglements involved. So I just avoided it. Unexpectedly, Lai Yuan actually appeared in this place. Qiong Qi let out a roar. Lai Yuan's breathing was steady. Hastily, he knelt before Chen Mo, pleading for mercy. "Don't kill me." Silence. "It was my fault before. I shouldn't steal your girlfriend. But I have no idea at all. It is Wang Liao. That scoundrel Wang Liao. First betray you." Lai Yuan tightly grasped the silent pant leg. Continually begged. The silent eyes narrowed slightly, staring at Lai Yuan kneeling on the ground. Suddenly burst into laughter. Said, "I think, if you don't take out that knife." This sentence. It might be even more convincing. Lai Yuan underneath him trembled all over. He suddenly lifted his head. He picked up Tao with a fierce expression. "Give me death. If it weren't for you, Wang Liao, that filthy bitch. How could you betray me?" He took it out from the lining of his clothes. Took out a small knife. Immediately stabbed towards the silent heart. Lai Yuan's face turned wild. Since the beginning of the apocalypse, he had been hungry for a long time. There is nothing left to eat. But what lies ahead is. Even more so, they are their own enemy. Remembering the silent words I once spoke to myself. I won't kill him myself. He will kill me. Lai Yuan's eyes were bloodshot. Looks crazy. Decide to take the initiative. The knife before me. Just as it was about to pierce the silent body, the knife in hand, suddenly it stopped in a strangely eerie manner. No matter how hard Lai Yuan tried, it is hard to penetrate even a fraction. A silent smile of contemplation. This thing, it's useless to me. Lai Yuan's pupils dilated, full of expression, shocked beyond belief, looking towards silence. His face was twisted. Used all my strength. But this knife, just like a towering Mount Tai. I can't move at all. Strange. Monster. Lai Yuan trembled all over, suddenly collapsed on the ground, constantly bowing and pleading for mercy. I was wrong. Silence. I was really wrong. Silence. I didn't mean to. Please spare me. Please let me go, okay? What is Wang Lu shaking? I can give everything to you. Silently shook his head, sighed and said, Lai Yuan, you may not know. I never wanted to kill you. But how are you and Wang Lu doing? What does it have to do with me? Lai Yuan's expression stiffened. But suddenly, the nearby Qiong Qi opened its bloody maw, bit off his head in one bite. Blood flowed like a spring, gushing forth. The headless corpse in front of me, with a thud, fell to the ground. The silence was perfectly calm. There wasn't even a ripple in my heart. Despair can continuously erode a person's will, even if I don't become a zombie. But in the midst of fear and hunger, Lai Yuan, who was already timid, already gone crazy, at the moment he took action, it destined his ending. Silently and softly, looking at Lai Yuan's corpse, he turned around and continued collecting the golden boxes. The golden box in the brains of the zombies in the arena, after everything was taken out. Silently looked at the side and said to Qiong Qi, let's go. One person, one beast. All left the original place. Unknowingly, a long time has passed. When a person arrives here, looking down at the ground, that familiar headless corpse, his pupils constricted, the blindfolded feelings recede into the past. Lai Yuan has died. Until evening. Silence returned home. I checked it. What was gained from this journey? Golden box, a total of 30 pieces. Because it's the early days of the apocalypse. Not all zombies. All can produce golden boxes. Additionally, there are zombies in the old city area, somewhat weaker. This is also a major part of the reason. However, the 30 newly born golden boxes, it is already more than enough. The self of one ability and one step. There are 2 ways to absorb the golden box. One is held in the palm of the hand. Using supernatural powers, go perceive the energy within the golden box. And the second type, it was to bite and swallow directly. Not much difference. The only thing worth noting is a first-level superpower user. The golden box available for use each day. There is a limit, according to the strength of the abilities. The effects vary from person to person. Most are in the range of 3 to 10 pieces. The stronger the ability, the more golden boxes one can absorb, the more they will acquire. Excessive use will cause a person to lose their sanity, immediately transformed into a different species. Silence held a coin, a gold box the size of a saddlebag. Close your eyes. Started to absorb. The iron gates and iron windows around. Gently began to tremble. The impoverished Kai beside. Curiosity is overwhelming. Tilting his head, he looked towards the silence. Pitter-patter. Golden boxes fell to the ground. A sea. 2 beads. 3 stars. The 10th one. Silence was not an option. The most reliable way to absorb 10 golden boxes. When I reached the 11th golden box, his forehead, a layer of fine sweat beads emerged. In my mind, suddenly a surge of insane killing intent erupted. Default 15 years. Countless painful memories emerge. At that moment, silent left hand, a purple light suddenly flickered. The chaotic thoughts in my mind. In an instant, everything vanished. Silence opens its eyes. Some things are hard to believe. Looked at my left hand. This, he felt. The power within this golden box. In a daze absorbed by the left hand. Silently unfortunate and wicked. Tried 2 more. Her eyes suddenly sparkled. It's already the 13th one. I actually exceeded the statistical limit. You should know. In silent recognition, these invaluable experiences. It is summed up by the countless bodies of people. Even an SSS level first-tier ability user can absorb at most 10. Finish the last golden box completely. Silent feelings. This is not yet my limit. It seems to be because of the second ability. During the subsequent absorption, the situation before was like that. Has never appeared again. 20th, 30 beads. When the master can use it. Metal at home. It felt as if it had come to life. Established a connection with oneself. Transformed into liquid. Constantly drifting. Qiong Qi opened his eyes wide, watching this scene with immense curiosity. Emit a low crowing sound. Silence arrived at the balcony. The eyes narrowed. A steel ball instantly shot out. Up to several meters away. Just fell down. 10 meters. Second order ability user. Mastery of metals. Increasingly skillful. It will also be even more. In other words, if it had been like before it appeared, encounter with a sniper situation, you have plenty of reaction time. It won't happen. Last time with Uncle Shaoling. Such a dangerous situation. Within the realm of this dominator's power. Can completely ignore. The power of the sniper rifle. The silent gaze brightened. Looked at the left hand. Became clear and visible. Awakening of the dark patterns. Difficult to overcome. The power of other golden boxes. So you were absorbed by me. I can do this myself. Perhaps it is better than being a ruler. An extraordinary moment. Old town. A once abandoned building. Inside the abandoned factory. Please, I beg you. Please give me some food. These foods were originally mine. I beg you. My daughter is not doing well. Go away. Bon. A robust-looking figure. It looks very social. A man wearing a tank top. A desperate plea before me. The middle-aged man pushed open. And here. There were several dozen people present. There are men and women. They are all survivors here. They all seem to be unbothered by it now, coldly observing, unmoved. Wang Hu chuckled softly. I want food. Choi, go outside and find it yourself. I want food. That also depends. Let's see if Wu Ji agrees. The middle-aged man's expression was fierce. Finally unable to endure any longer, rushed towards Wang Hu, roared out, You are stealing my food. Forget it. I just want to save my daughter. You bunch of beasts. If silence remains here, you will definitely find it. The middle-aged man in front of me. It was the owner of that small restaurant. Liu Jiangyuo. Forget you. Dare to fight back. Wang Hu was angry. Kicked directly with one foot. With his strong physique of 1 meter 80. With this step down. Directly kicked Liu Jiangyuo to the ground. He pressed directly on top of him. Go down. Towards Liu Jiangyuo's head. It is a powerful blow. Bob bob. A wild beating. Head bleeding profusely. There is simply no chance to fight back. Can only keep holding my head. Suddenly, Wang Hu seemed to have discovered something. He noticed a watch in Liu Jiangyuo's hand. His eyes lit up. Seized it away. This watch is nice. It's mine. Wang Hu looked at the ground. That bloodied and mangled gaze. The ruthless and crazy Liu Jiangyuo let out a sneer. Spit out some phlegm. He disdainfully said, Oh, still not convinced. Wang Hu refuses. Wang Hu looked around. a crowd sitting on the ground, said with a cold smile, "Do you all want to eat something? Layazi is giving you a chance. Give him a beating. Don't kill him. The hardest hit." Layazi rewarded him with a piece of bread. Finished speaking, Wang, who took out a palm-sized piece from his pocket, packaged small bread, dropped on the ground. "But that is mine," Liu Jiangyuo hoarsely roared. The people around listened. Eyes sparkled with a glimmer of desire and greed, constantly swallowing saliva. Even rushed forward immediately facing Liu Jiangyuo. Fist strikes and kicks. The dozens of people present couldn't sit still. They charged forward like wolves and tigers. Wang, who saw this, laughed even more wildly. "Not bad, not bad. Just don't get killed. I miss him, Wang Hu. Before the apocalypse, I was just a thug. Everyone looks down on themselves. And what about now? Everyone is respectful and deferential to themselves. Live like a lord, serving oneself." At that moment, a creaking sound echoed. A small-time thug with dyed yellow hair spoke up. Wu Ji wants you to come in for a moment. I have something to tell you." Wang, who was taken aback, then walked over and said, "What's going on?" He pushed open the door. In the center of the room, a wealthy gentleman sat gracefully, a middle-aged man in a suit. A nearby hoodlum, standing respectfully, Wang, who stepped forward and shouted, "Wu Ji, what do you need from me?" "The man in front of me. Once there was a wealthy merchant in Tanai. His name is Wu Qiong. Wu Qiong is crying in front of his eyes." The blond-haired little brother next to him. Leaning down, I whispered softly into Wang Hu's ear, "Wu Ji is feeling very sad now. Nüwa, did you see the body on the ground? It's far away." Wang, who was taken aback, looked at the body next to Wu Qiong, a headless corpse covered with burlap. Her expression changed. "Wu Ji, what is going on?" Wu Qiong struggled immensely, squeezed out a few drops of tears, said, "My nephew has died. How am I supposed to explain this to his dad? Nephew, you died so tragically." Wang, who stepped forward to comfort. "Wu Ji, the world has changed. There are zombies everywhere outside. It's good to be dead. Living is suffering instead." Saying it like this, Wang, who felt uneasy in his heart. If you really care about this nephew, so they wouldn't deliberately withhold food from him, let the person far away go out, looking for something to eat. Once saw from afar, Wu Qiong many times, but every time Wu Qiong, they all have smiling faces. Behind the scenes, let yourself quietly distance from him. Qingshen was driven mad by the distance. Wang, who is well aware, a distant father, with Wu Qiong, they are business rivals. Wu Qiong nodded slightly. In an instant, a new face emerged. The speed of changing faces can be considered a hidden level. Wu Qiong said with a serious expression, "Sai, Wang Hu, you're right. It's easier to die early in this world, but the grudge of my eldest nephew, we must report it. He is like this. It doesn't look like they were bitten by a zombie. The food here, it's almost finished. How many people will you bring tomorrow? Go outside to find some food. Take a look. Are there any other survivors? Also bring it over. After all, many hands make light work. It's good to survive like this." This last sentence is the key point, right? Because I couldn't face the zombies with those mutated beasts. So, deliberately looking for other survivors, then force them to join. The food supplies in their hands. Take everything back. The two of them have done quite a few dirty deeds. You said it, Wu Ji. Wang Hu nodded. Wu Qiong. Wu Qiong's palms were slightly sweaty. Lying on the chair with eyes closed, he said, "All right. Isn't there a new female college student outside? Let her come in for a moment. By the way, take my good nephew's body with you. Those people outside. Haven't you been hungry for a long time? Let's celebrate the wedding together. Let them eat some meat." Wang Hu's expression changed suddenly, staring at Wu Qiong in disbelief. On this day, silence and poverty, as usual, near the old town, District C, hunting zombies. Once the master reaches the second tier, the golden box of zombies before me, the improvement in oneself has also diminished significantly. There is hardly any enhanced effect. Most of the golden boxes, all absorbed by their yet-to-awaken second abilities. You are capable of this. But a glutton who can never get enough to eat. When will we finally awaken? Silently glanced at his left hand and said, "Strange. I remember there should be quite a few zombies here. Why did they suddenly all disappear? Zombies in this area, all kept intentionally for themselves, used to eliminate the golden box." Silence furrowed his brow. I didn't think much about it either. It seems. Let's head to the city center to take a look. To be honest, he didn't really want to go to the place of the baptism. Speaking for myself, based on my current abilities, if one were to encounter a divine being, almost certainly doomed. Too slow. Silent eyes flicker. Absorb the 5 golden boxes that were just collected. Only 2 months left. The year of lifespan will appear. You must be present when the year of longevity arrives. Find the fish. At that moment, the poor creature by my side, suddenly it let out a fierce growl. The current state of Qiong Qi. The body shape has noticeably become a size bigger. In fact, strength also falls within the realm of a first-tier capable individual. However, as a one type of first order, a capable individual strong enough to rival a second order, silently looked back. He was knocked down just by a pat. What happened? That there is something. Second ability, although I haven't awakened yet. But Qiong Qi continued to rise. Communicate smoothly. It has also become more convenient. Sure. Silently, I looked in that direction, in that ruins. A giggling voice came through. A piercing scream echoed through the air. From within, suddenly, a creature jumped out. A black mouse the size of a domestic cat. It made a creaking sound. Immediately after that, a swarm of black mice came out from all the gaps, thick and dense. From a distance it appeared, like a black-tide sea, unmatched in archery. These mice, each one is robust and strong, red-hearted eyes, staring intently at the silence and the mysterious creature. Suddenly, a huge dark shadow, rushing towards silence. The silent pupils focused, sword in hand. In an instant, he slashed forward, bang, as if it were struck against steel. The tremor of Suma was felt. Bang, a rumble echoed beneath. Countless clouds of smoke filled the air. And rise, amidst the countless swarms of mice. Unexpectedly, a beast appeared. Body language and Qiong Qi, giant black mice of nearly the same size. The black hair stood up on end. It looks as hard as steel. On him, filled with dense blood holes. Some places are just bare patches. Even the hair was gone. The claws were stained with blood, continuously chewing on the remains of a zombie. Creaking sound. Qiong Qi watched vigilantly. The giant black rat roared. Silence frowned slightly, looking at the katana in hand. It was just a brief encounter. It created a series of sunken scenes. Lion Mouse Group, Lion Mouse Clan. It can be said that this is the end of the world. The most common disasters in the early days of the apocalypse. Encountering this means certain death. This leadership system, a mouse the size of a domestic cat. They quietly surrounded the silence, waiting in order. Only the second-tier lion rat. Only with such talent can one command so many mice. It seems like this. Raising zombies here by oneself. All by this guy. The leader of the lion rat group was fed. Silently, the expression changed. Second type. This at least means, in front of this lion rat head, at least there is a second-order golden box. The giant lion rat before me. It must be the Rat King. Qiong Qi. Silence spoke up. Days of cooperation. Qiong Qi immediately understood the meaning of silence, leaping towards the giant lion rat. At the same time, silence controlled the metal within dozens of meters around. Vehicle, iron plate, equipment. They rushed towards the lion rat king. Boom. Directly confront that lion mouse king. Caught in the middle. If the lion mouse king let out a piercing, painful wail. Thousands of lion mice surround us, rushing towards the location of silence, overwhelming as a tide. Silence uses the power of domination. Metal needles suddenly emerged around, like a torrential rain, hastily rushed toward the front. This swarm of rushing mice, shot down, if the anguished cries of the lion mice echoed, but there are simply too many lion mice. Still, their offensive shows no signs of waning. Silently, take a deep breath. The surrounding metal turned into liquid, forming a metal wall, surrounded in front of oneself. And some is from the gaps around, continuously drilling out. First, we must kill the lion mouse king. Without the leadership of the lion mouse king, these lion mice will disperse. Silently looked to the other side. The Qiong Qi is relentlessly tearing at the lion mouse king. Qiong Qi continued to roar and growl. With one bite, then he tore off most of the flesh and blood from the lion mouse king. Another piercing scream. The silent lions and rats surrounding one by one, as if hearing a command. They all headed towards Qiong Qi. Her silent eyes narrowed slightly. Using the power of the dominator, two steel balls were formed, leaping towards the eyes of the lion mouse king. This strike was no different from a bullet fired from a sniper rifle. Immense power. Pachai, Pachu. Two streams of blood burst forth. The lion mouse king let out a long, painful laugh. It was as if she had gone mad, tearing apart the surrounding equipment and abandoned vehicles with claws. Tangled emotions, unexpectedly heading in another direction, running away frantically. Qiong Qi turned around, looked towards the silence. Silence immediately jumped onto Qiong Qi's back. He petted him and said, "We chase." At this moment, a type of second order is extremely rare. This second order golden box. I am determined. On the other side, Lai Hu is currently out wandering with a few of his underlings. This is so damn unlucky. The food touched by those damn zombies can't be eaten anymore. If we can't find food again, after returning, Wuj is about to lose his temper again. A younger brother beside me chuckled darkly. Wuji, how about we go to the supermarket and take a look? Lai Hu glared at him, shouted angrily, "Are you trying to get me killed? There are hundreds of zombies over there. Are you going? I really can't eat that thing anymore. Can't get over it." The other younger brother said with a slightly pale face. During this time, food stolen from Liu Jiangyuo. They have long since eaten it all. Everyone has been hungry for several days. What is even more terrifying is the people outside who don't have food. They actually started to feast on the bodies of those who starved to death. Lai, who angrily smashed a rock. His constitution is somehow, every day is getting stronger. Now facing an attack from 2 or 3 zombies. No longer a concern. As soon as I said it, I'm getting angry. Qiong, that bastard. One person eats so much food. They also want to share it with those bitches. The guys working for him can't even eat enough. They even let us out to search for supplies. Yes, Ji, you are so amazing. Let me tell you. Let's just be alone. I will follow you. Lai, who shook his head. The eyes flickered. Not possible. That old man knows people in the military region. A week later, someone will come to take him to the military district. We will go together then. If you dare to deceive me, the reason I am so humble and submissive, isn't it all for going to the safest place? At that moment, one of them seemed to have discovered something. He said with an expression of utter terror, "Tiger, Ji, what happened again?" Lai, who impatiently said, "Look at that. What is that pitch black area? And that giant creature?" Lai Hu Yizhang. Then I looked ahead, only saw a massive creature, a giant black rat with fur like steel needles, heading towards themselves and others. Behind him, following a vast expanse of black tidal sea, the raccoon tiger focused intently. Whoa, so many mice. What are you still standing there for? Fun. Several people were stunned by the scene. I have never seen so many mice in my life. They are each bigger than house cats. Several people made a quick decision, desperately running in the opposite direction. At this moment, I wish I could use both my feet as well. This time, the sound of piercing mouse squeaks echoed. Several people were sweating profusely. But their speed, how can we compete against so many lion mice? Very quickly, a miserable scream suddenly rang out. A little brother behind Lai Hu, directly submerged in. Among this dense crowd of lion mice, just a breath's time, leaving nothing behind but flesh and bones completely vanished. Lai Hu glanced back, pale as a ghost. He could no longer run. Screamed furiously with a mad expression. What the hell is this? Where did all these mice come from? He swung the weapon in his hand. With one strike, the sweeping winds blew away large swathes of lion mice. The remaining younger brothers were also surrounded on the ground by the group of lion mice. Suddenly, a gigantic black rat emerged from the group of mice. The lion mouse king is blind in both eyes, was already extremely furious. After sensing the breath of a living person, it let out a long howl, revealing its sharp teeth. Swiping with its claws, it lunged at a few people. The two little brothers beside Lai Hu side-widened their eyes in shock. Once again, there were a few screams. Qin Shen was torn apart by the lion mouse king. Blood spurted everywhere. The scene is incredibly intense. The remaining few had never seen such a scene. With trembling legs, they suddenly fell to their knees with a thud, said in terror, "Don't kill me. Tiger brother, help." Lai, who is struggling to protect himself. He immediately turned around wanting to escape, when seeing the surrounding roads completely blocked. Behind the densely packed, pitch-black group of lion mice, Lai, who was completely stunned. Don't come over here. I am indeed very brave. Lai, who held a long stick tied with a knife. My legs started to tremble uncontrollably. His expression turned fierce. Furiously, he turned to look at the lion mouse king. "Go to hell. I'll fight you to the end," let out a roar. Directly swing the axe towards the Lion Mouse King in front of you. Give me death. When a crisp sound rang out. When the blade touched the Lion Mouse King, he took off and left. Finished. Lai Hu quickly closed his eyes. This is his only thought. At that moment, a deafening roar echoed from afar. Roar. When I heard that sound, the mice behind him immediately began to stir restlessly, suddenly lifted a large patch of black spots. The Lion Mouse King also paused, exhibiting a fearsome demeanor. Even the raccoon tiger was disregarded, hurried to prepare for escape. In an instant, a razor-sharp katana leaped in from behind. A dagger pierced into the back of the Lion Rat King's head. Pachai! It. The Lion Mouse King let out a long, anguished cry, fell straight forward, rumbling, "Death! Death!" Seeing this, a younger brother stepped forward, uncontrollably shivering. Incredible path, and the raccoon tiger opened its eyes wider, watching the Lion Mouse King collapse in front of me, a face full of shock. After the giant Lion Rat King died, a dense group of lion mice surrounding. In an instant, it receded like the tide. One by one, they slipped into the gaps everywhere, not far away. In silence, and Qiong Qi arrived at this place. Silence descended from Qiong Qi, approached the giant Lion Mouse King, under the shocked gazes of the few members of the Lai Hu. Holding that long sword, a loud slap echoed. Along the back of the Lion Rat King's head, open up its skull. From within, he took out a golden box. Looking at the golden box in hand, the silent gaze suddenly brightened. It is indeed a second-tier golden box. Silence kept it safe. Then he looked at the crowd. Dan said, "Who are you?" A few little brothers rubbed their eyes. It seems hard to believe that the terrifying Lion Rat King. I can't believe that this person in front of me handles it all by themselves. Lai Hu was utterly dazed for quite a while, just realized, hurriedly said, "Aye, we are all survivors from this place. I want to go out and find some food. This monster, it was you who killed." Silently nodded, gave them a glance. Suddenly, as if noticing something, he looked at the watch on Lai Hu's wrist. That watch. The silent eyes squinted slightly. A glimmer of cold light flashed as they asked, "Survivor?" Lai Hu showed a simple and honest appearance. Smile. He chuckled and rubbed his head. Yes. Correct.